Hi everyone. So in the last class we have discussed regarding this LibreOffice. So let's continue with that. On your search bar, please enter LibreOffice. So now you can see different kind of applications regarding this LibreOffice Writer, LibreOffice Calculation, LibreOffice Base. So now double tap on this LibreOffice Base. So basically a database which is used to store any information in a systematic order. Now you will create a tables with this database using the LibreOffice, and in the next class you will be knowing about SQL query based languages and also how to create tables using this SQL. So now this is how it will be opening when you click on this database. Now after clicking on that, you can see an application window. So in that application window you can see this select a database, create a new database. So if you are creating this for the first time, you need to select create a new database. Now click on next, so that decide how you wanted to proceed, whether you wanted to save this database or not. So obviously it will be saved, but there are two things which you need to remember. That is, do you want to register with the wizard website or not? And the second thing is that how you need to create the table using a wizard. Now see here, I'm not registering with the wizard database, and also open the database for editing I have selected. Now click on the finish button. Now what will happen is you can see that how the automatically the name will appear as new database. So now rename it according to your comfort. I'm writing it as employees details. Okay, so now the extension for this is ODF database. Click on the save option. Now you can see that a table will be opened. Now this is how you can see the table. So now see here employees details.odb. This employee details.odb is your title bar where you can write your title. Now here on your left side you can see tables, queries, forms and reports. These are your objects, and also here you can see different kinds of tasks, right? So this is something like where you can create a table in design view, where you can create your table in a wizard view. So now let's start with the beginning. Here there are two different kinds of creation of the tables. Let me just start with the wizard. So now in the last class we discussed how to use this wizard and all that, and also how to create table in the design view. So now once again I'm just opening it and I'll show it. Now click on this use wizard to create table. So there are two different kinds of categories. One is business and the other one is personal. So if you click on the business, you will be getting different kinds of sample tables. So in that sample table, you can select based on your ideology. So now I am selecting employees. So now my table is employees table. In that employees, you will be having different criteria like last name, first name, their salary, address, and phone number. So now you can see this left shift and right shift symbols, right? So now see here employee ID. I was selecting this employee ID and making this as my primary key. So what do you mean by primary key? Let's revise once again. Primary key is something which is used for unique identification. For suppose if there are two persons with the same name, how you will identify that particular person based on their roll call, right? So that is regarding students data. But if it is an employee, how will you identify that? Based on their employee ID. So now see here, I'm just selecting employee ID. If you double tap on it, automatically on your right side, there is a selected field. In that selected field, you can display it. Now I'm selecting last name and first name, and also include their salary. Now see here, click on this next option. Now, usually a names will be in the format of a text, right? Am I correct? Yes. So now this employee ID is in a form of integers, because IDs will always mention with numbers only. That may be 101, 102, 103, something like that. So that is the reason by defaultly you can see that it is an integer. So integer is something which is having a values of only numbers. Right. If that is a decimal, then you are going to have the numbers which is a combination of some decimal values. That is something 24.00 like that. Now here you can see auto value. If you wanted to enter your value manually, then you have to click on this yes. If you wanted to increase any kind of statement, you can click on this auto increment. If you wanted to increase, or else if you wanted to make any kind of changes, you can go and select that edit option and you can edit it. Now you can see the length of this integer, right? So by default the length is 10. Now next, first name. So first name itself is saying that text, right? So this text, for suppose my name, whatever the name it is there, that is a complete combination of letters only. Only based on your alphabets, you will frame your letter, right? That may be some Tanya, Anu, or else whatever that names may be. That is regarding information technology. Anything which is a combination of letters. Now, the thing which is very, very important is, do we need to enter this text in integers? Yes or no? So, if you are entering it in numbers, what do we get? We need to enter only the numbers. If it is some text format, you need to enter only the text. That's it. So, now the length it is showing is 50. Now, click on the next option. Now, do you wanted to create any primary key? It is asking. So, if you wanted to make your primary key, you have to click on that. If you don't need, or else if you wanted to select from an existing, you have to select that field name. So now employee ID is my primary key, and click on the next option and click on this finish. So now see here, there are different kinds of tables which you have seen. Employee ID, first name, last name, and salary. Now my employee ID is 101. First name I'm writing is Tanya. Last name I'm writing with B. And the salary for this is 30,000. Now see here, there is one more employee ID, that is 102. Let's rename with some other name called Anu. And also the last name is Sharma. So now see here, let us write that salary as some 10,000. Now in the last class we discussed that a primary key cannot be empty, right? So I'm leaving one blank thing on employee ID, and I was moving forward to the first name, that is Virat. I'm writing. So let's write Virat, and you can use the tab key to move forward. So writing Kohli. So Virat Kohli is a name of a cricketer. Now taking example of Virat Kohli, he's a cricketer. Now the salary for him, whatever the salary, but I was just mentioning some 1 lakh. Now see here, you're getting an error because the null value, okay, primary key cannot be empty. Because of that, you are getting an error. Now you may get one more doubt, ma'am, what will happen if we enter Virat as an empty? Now see here, if I make it as empty, now again, if you start moving forward and if you try to write in the next block, you'll be not getting any error. Okay, so but when you leave something in your employee ID, definitely you will be getting error. It's because a primary key cannot be empty. So let's recollect once again what we discussed. This is how to create a table using the wizard. And the second thing is that a primary key cannot be empty. It cannot be null. You need not to mention any particular kind of value, but the thing you need to remember is that it should not be empty. That may be any value, whatever the value which comes in your mind, you can enter that value. There is no rule you have to enter only 1, 2, 3, something like that, but it should not be null. That's it. And also, what is the purpose of these tables and where we will be using this? So this LibreOffice, it is basically used in the school management and also in any kind of Excel related stuff to store some database information regarding the school infrastructure, anything. For that kind, this LibreOffice is used. So this is a tool where it will store the different kind of data in a structured way, and also in a systematic order it will be storing, and it does not allow duplicate because we are using a primary key. That is the reason. Got it? So by this I was just closing the class. Now moving forward in the next class we will discuss the remaining stuff. Thank you.